Our students are the future. How we advance innovation and impact and approach equity in their classrooms will determine how we thrive as a world community. The status quo just won't cut it. That's why we're here to break the grade. Hello, breakers and difference makers. I'm Josh Chernikoff, host of How I Broke That. I'm a two-time entrepreneur in the education space, and I've successfully exited both of those companies. I've experienced my fair share of breaks in my life, and I'm here to bring my signature approach to my new show, Breaking the Grade. I'm embarking on this special journey alongside my good friend and mentor, John Gamba, Director of Innovative Programs and Entrepreneur in Residence at Penn GSE. In our podcast, you'll hear from emerging business owners in the education space who are working to transform education as we know it. Tune in as we hear about industry trends, unique principles and practices, and the attempts that have and haven't worked for our grade-breaking guests. So fellow entrepreneurs and educators, what do you think? Are you ready to take a hammer to the education space and break the grade? Welcome to Breaking the Grade. Welcome to Breaking the Grade. We have an interesting show today because it's kind of our first part 2. Yeah, this is a little bit of a continuation. The name of this show is They Loved the Demo, So Why Didn't They Buy? What education buyers actually want, part 2. And I'll explain why this is part 2 very soon. Education founders, you guys are out there. You've nailed the better demo. We talked about that. You researched the district. You customized your deck. You told the right story. Sounds like you got everything. They smiled. They nodded. Your demo sounds pretty good. They say this is exactly what we need, but you're still not closing. You're stacking the praise, not the pilots. That's not good. Here's the truth. A better demo doesn't guarantee a better close rate. It just gets you head nods in the room. And head nods are important, but closing is even more important. So what happens after the room is really important. And I'm finding that's where some founders actually end up losing. I've seen this dozens of times. You follow the method, the better demo method, you impress the buyer, and still crickets. So in this episode, we're picking up right where we left off. The Your Demo is the Problem, the better demo method show left off. You fixed, I hope, at this point, the how of your demo, but what you're actually pitching, that's still a little fuzzy. And that's what this show is for, folks. Because if you've nailed the better demo and you're still not closing, we've still got work to do. It's not about working harder. It's about pitching smarter. So first, I'd like to recap the better demo method from one of our previous shows. If you missed the full episode, go back and listen. Or here's the TLDR, as the cool kids say. Too long didn't read, or maybe this is actually TLDL. Too long didn't listen. The better demo method. Start with district-specific research. 2, anchor to one urgent, and I mean urgent pain. 3, tell the transformation story before showing the product. Show relevant features only. And I mean they better be really relevant and not a lot. And end with clear next steps and an ask in terms of ask how you can help. That method gets you into conversations, and that's great. But if you're still not closing, the problem isn't the demo. It's what's happening next. So here's what we're going to unpack today. Why great demo often means, unfortunately, no deal. What superintendents actually need from your pitch. Why a better demo needs a better offer. Ding, ding, ding. The 5 things your buyer is scanning for but won't tell you. But guess what? We will. A reframe of how to pitch your signature solution, aka your irresistible offer. We're going to talk about some real founder transformations, Paul, Catherine, and Wayne, and a full pitch framework with some simple and sample language and swaps that you can use today. So, first of all, praise isn't pipeline. I hate to tell you, praise isn't pipeline. Your demo went well. They gave you the head nod, the kudos, the smile, but then silence. They say, we'll circle back. Let me talk to my team. That's not a maybe. That, unfortunately, folks, is a polite no. Here's the problem. You're demoing your product, but they are shopping for a partner. You might have done everything right based on what we told you in the better demo method, and I appreciate that, except show how you solve their problem in their words with proof. Because even a perfect demo won't convert if the buyer can't retell your value to their team. The pitch has no urgency. The solution feels like a product and not a system. Product and not a system. You leave them with interesting, not essential. So here's one thing I said, and I think it bears worth repeating. If your demo is clear but your promise is vague, you lose every time. If your demo is clear but your promise is vague, you lose every time. Paul King, who's a member of the Ed Sales Elevation Experience community, and I coach him one-on-one, learned this the hard way. Paul was pitching SAT prep crickets. Then he shifted to, and I'm going to quote, we lift Algebra 1 pass rates in schools stuck under 50% in New York City. Okay, now you've got my attention. And if I'm a New York City principal who's struggling with the Regents exam, now you really have my attention. Guess what? He got 4 pilots after shifting. One sentence changed his mind. One sentence ended up changing his business. And I can tell you how it changed his mind because Paul and I worked that out together. And he said, you know what? That's strong. And I said, you're damn right it is. And guess who also thought so? Getting a little excited here. So the principals. So here's what they are really buying. They being your one perfect client. Buyers are scanning for really 5 things during your pitch. And if they don't see them, they won't buy. Let's go through each one. Clarity is number 1. Okay? Your pitch has to have clarity. Can they, your perfect client, repeat what you do after 10 seconds? Can they repeat what you do after 10 seconds? If they can't, they'll never be able to talk to their team about what you do. Here, we do data-driven student support through aligned analytics. Boring. Or how about this? We help schools cut chronic absenteeism by 30% in 90 days. Which one are you going back to your team and saying, we need that? It's a tactical swap. How about this? Instead of our platform supports intervention strategies, say, we show your team exactly which students are about to disappear and how to get them back. Again, which one are you going back to your team and talking about? You need proof. You don't need 10 testimonials. You need one clear, very strong before and after. Quote, in one middle school, we helped move Algebra 1 pass rates from 47% to 72% in a semester. Good old Paul King at it again. So I want you to tie outcomes to KPIs the districts already track. Attendance, scores, suspensions, whatever it is that matters to you and your KPIs, but you need to make a direct tie. Urgency. Why now? Not next semester. We need urgency. Buyers delay by default. I hate to say that. Buyers delay by default. And you must give them no reason not to delay. Quote, we only open 3 pilots per semester. Okay, now you've got some urgency. ESSER funds expire in 6 weeks. Insert any type of funding. Your reading scores drop in Q3. We can help before that. You've created urgency. Don't say we're available anytime. You're a busy person. You're running a business. You cannot be available anytime. Say, we're booking in November now. Do you want me to hold a spot? I had to get comfortable with this for our Ed Sales Elevation Experience. I limit our Ed Sales Elevation Experience to 10 companies, 2 people per company, and we run them every other month. That way, we get people lined up for Ed Sales Elevation Experiences month after month after month. We create urgency. You also have to have fit. Is this for schools like mine? First of all, that's a really good sign from your perfect client. And you need to make the buyer feel seen. Quote, we work with rural school districts that don't have full-time intervention staff. You are signaling to them that you know how to work with them and you know how to work with rural school districts. Quote, we built this for schools where one counselor serves 300 kids. Again, that school feels seen. We've got Wayne. Wayne is a client of ours. He landed decision makers using LinkedIn because his signature solution was so dialed in. If you've been listening to the show, you know who I'm talking about, Wayne Bovere. Wayne, I don't know if I've ever seen anybody dive so far into the signature solution and see so much success quickly. And the reason I'm bringing that up around fit is because Wayne's signature solution fits for his perfect client and they feel seen. The dude is closing deals left and right. Confidence. There's always a question, can they trust you to deliver? And I think that's reasonable, especially potentially if your company is just getting going. Your message shouldn't sound like a system. It shouldn't be just a list of services, okay? Here's a bad example. We do tutoring, mentoring, and SEL training. That's a list. This is better. We walk your students through a 3-step system that increases graduation rates by 33%. Now I'm listening. So who's winning with this? Because I can tell you it's not everybody right now. Only from what we can tell, the top 10% of education sellers clarify their offer like this. And they win. And they win big. I'm going to tell you, again, we've got Paul King, started with tutoring, came to the Ed Sales Elevation Experience, pivoted to we raise Algebra 1 pass rates in stuck schools in New York City. 4 pilots. Boom. I coach Paul 1-to-1. It is a great honor. Catherine, she was selling general coaching. She reframed it to we reduce new teacher burnout. Leads are coming back saying, we're ready to roll. We've got teachers burning out. Another member of the Ed Sales Elevation Experience community. Then there's Wayne. I'm about to do some real work with Wayne and his team at Higher Digital. 8 years. 8 years Wayne was pitching noise. He'll admit it too. He built a signature solution through the Ed Sales Elevation Experience, and guess what? The presidents of colleges all across the country are calling Wayne because it is clear how he and his team can help them. So here's a framework that you can use in real language. First of all, I want you to lead with their language, your perfect client. Say what they say. We build data dashboards. That's not good. We show you exactly which students are slipping through the cracks. That makes sense. State the stakes. What's at risk if your perfect client waits? You know because you've seen it. For every ninth grader who fails math, they are 3 times more likely to drop out. For every point your attendance drops, you lose $40,000 in funding. State the facts. Make sure it has the benefit of being true, as one of my mentors said, but state the hard facts. Introduce your signature solution. Be like Wayne. Name it and frame it. When you give it a name, people lean in, and your signature solution is your offer. Make sure your offer is crystal clear and irresistible. Show proof. Don't brag. Illustrate. In our last pilot, 83% of students returned to class within 2 weeks. That is not bragging. That is illustrating. That's also using classroom language and not buzzwords, and that's important too. Remember, I want you to, lastly, create urgency. Make now the obvious move. We're holding 2 spots for November pilots. The funds are sunsetting in 45 days. Let's make those funds work for you. So, as we get to the close here, if they love the demo, but they never buy, again, it's not your product. And by the way, I'm not the product person. It's how you're pitching it. You don't need to work harder. I bet you work your tail off. You need to communicate smarter. This is your next move. From better demo to better pitch to signed pilot. In education sales, clarity closes. And I hope that you have received more clarity by listening to this show. If you want to go from heard to hired, this is how you do it. Thanks for listening. You go out there and do exactly what you should regarding pilots. You've got Better Demo 1 and Better Demo 2.